Welcome to the Season 3 premiere of The Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Sonari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Woo boy, Matt. Family Vacation 2024.
Yeah, Rick and Morty for years and years and years, forever and ever.
Hundreds and hundreds of years, decades and decades and decades.
We just hear Tom in the background just like moaning like Morty in the back when he's like when he's having like brain trauma. But holy crap, we're back, man.
I know, dude.
This is wild.
It's going to be a little different, Family Heads, as said in my announcement wrapping up Family Vacation, because the studio burned down.
It did, yeah. A lot of the acid that we were leaving in the basement just kind of ate away at the beams, and it all just caved in on itself.
And then that combined with Nate Roos just going on a rampage, there was no saving it.
No, there truly wasn't.
So we actually just bought this torn-out war bunker from a Latvian philanthropist.
It's wild that it was in the middle of Arizona when we bought it.
Yeah,
because
we moved it all the way to New York.
Yeah, dude, don't even get me started on the traffic. But AJ, we're not here to talk about our escapades of the studio.
No,
we're
not.
actually have an album.
We have 2 albums even.
That's wild. We do have 2 albums to get back to
Just 2 albums.
Just 2 albums. We have 2 albums to sort of get back into the regular format. What are the albums that we have?
So the album that I chose for Matt is Kimono My House by Sparks.
And the album I chose for AJ is Pray for the Wicked by Panic at the Disco.
2 vastly different albums, which is our bread and butter on the show. We like taking these different styles and genres and just mashing them all together.
Finding some through line connection.
Exactly. That doesn't really apply at all.
We'll figure it out by the end.
Exactly,
we'll figure it out by the end.
So Matt, first episode, what album do you want to start with first?
I think we got to start with Kimono My House.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. There's a lot to say about Pray for the Wicked.
Oh, boy, is there.
Well, I guess without further ado, let's hop into a little history. Kimono My House was released May 1st, 1974 on Island Records, and it is the 3rd studio album by American art rock group Sparks. Sparks formed in the late 60s, officially becoming Sparks in 1971, and it primarily consists of brothers Russell and Ron Mail on vocals and keys respectively, as well as a wide array of rotating musicians. So they're kind of like Steely Dan in that way, where they have the 2 permanent members and kind of bring in people as the projects desire, but it's mostly about those 2.
I did see that on the wiki.
On the Family Album wiki?
Yeah, we have a Sparks sub.
I just really like them.
Yeah, what an album. The cover is so dynamic. I love it.
Yeah, also celebrating its 50th anniversary this year at time of recording.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Very cool. This was an album that was on heavy rotation during my music renaissance in college, where I was just listening to a bunch of different things. This band in general, I just really got into them thanks to Evan, friend of the podcast. And yeah, they're just a really good band, and I gotta say, this is probably my favorite album by them. I really like it a lot.
Gotcha.
And we'll get into our thoughts as we go.
Shall we dive right into the I was about to say the 3rd track. Let's skip 1 and 2. We got to cut
But
out
they're
the
so
middle
good.
bit. No, it's okay. No, I'm kidding. We can start with the 1st track, not the 3rd track. This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us.
This is, I believe, Sparks' biggest track. It was used in a few movies before. It was used in the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale game.
Oh, okay.
Which is how I heard of them. But I think this is a great opener. I think it's a really fun track. They're most famous for a reason. I think Sparks is really good at just kind of like setting up scenes of just with like their imagery and their metaphors and like their lyricism. And I think this just kind of sets up the whole standoff motif in a really fun way. But Matt, what are your thoughts?
I really think it was a strong opener.
Mm-hmm.
It sets the tone of exactly what you're getting into with this album.
Yeah.
And the guy's voice is really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has like this he has this cadence in his voice that reminds me, I forget what the guy's name is. He's the lead singer of like Dexy's Midnight Runners.
That's what my girlfriend literally said.
Yeah. Like something about it, it's so similar. But it sounds like if some of the tracks sound like if Queen wrote for Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Because they have that glam rock kind of a harder edge to it.
And the art rock.
It's just a nice combo.
It is. And I really thought it was strong. Mm-hmm. I'm quite fond of the first like 5 tracks.
Yeah, this has a really good run. I'd say like tracks 1 to 6 are really fucking good in my opinion.
I would agree, actually.
The bass is fucking filthy on this track. I love it so much. Just how like hard it shreds. And the little like syncopated breakdown that happens towards the end, the ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba. It's just a really fun song, and they play with like motifs and just like different soundscapes very well, or styles, I should say.
It was always really cool how they, in this track, and I think on a few other tracks as well, they switched from like major to minor in the verses and then into the chorus. And I mean, like, just very interesting sort of like, I don't want to say carnival-esque.
But no,
like,
that's accurate, because that appears like kind of all throughout this album, like that style of like key or like synth
organ or something.
Yeah. It's very like circus-esque in a way, but I think that kind of adds to like the tongue-in-cheek nature of a lot of like Sparks song concepts.
It definitely works.
And I think kind of going for the whole album, the guitars kind of steal the show for a lot of these tracks. Just like the solos are fantastic, and just the way that they sound and the way they're utilized is just amazing.
There's one later on, like one of the guitar solos that just like blew me away.
Oh yeah, dude. I think that's I did write down the guitarist's name. Give me 1 second. Matt, I may have lied to you.
You don't have the name?
I don't think I have the name.
I'm quitting.
I understand.
You can have Tom as your co-host.
Matt, please don't leave.
Nah, it's over. It's over.
I'm sorry. Well, I will put his name in the description with our classic correction section that is ever growing. But yeah, anything else about this track? Shall we move on?
I say let's keep going.
Next up is Amateur Hour. I think this is a really fun follow-up. Has a very nice kind of fun feel, especially between the verses and the choruses. And something I like about those switch-ups is that they usually kind of go to like almost like a cut time feel with the drums.
Yeah.
How it switches to that pattern.
I can kind of, I think I know what you mean.
It's just like a really cool idea. It just kind of makes it feel like a little more like theatric, which is very nice.
The organ is just like so awesome on this one. I love the way it like builds up to the chorus on this track. Like they have a lot of really great like they have a lot of momentum as they're like building up to the chorus with a lot of these tracks. And this one, I really felt like I could like
you could feel it.
It's a good example of that. Is what I'm trying to say.
I gotcha.
I love how the drums are on like the downbeat and the keys are on the upbeat.
Yeah, it's the nice like switch off, which is very cool. Something that I like a lot about Sparks is just like song concepts. Is a lot of them like applies to like teenagers and just like people growing up, and it's just like about like letting them know that they're not alone and to just like explore themselves and not like feel ashamed or pressured or anything. It's just like you're in a weird spot, but like everyone goes through it, and it's just make fun of it, like have fun with it. It's a very, very nice sentiment during a very precarious time.
This album was honestly kind of a treat because like the only other song I'd only listened to one other Sparks song besides this, and it was Angst in My Pants.
Oh yeah, that also applies to that song.
I mean, that one's pretty decent.
Yeah,
it's in my likes for a reason, you know.
It made the coveted playlist.
But yeah, no, it was cool to kind of see it more. Wait, what number album did you say this was for them?
This is 3.
Third album?
I think, yeah.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
That's it. I was just curious.
There's one lyric I like in here, because the song is basically about like how awkward it is having sex for your first time.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of compare that with this lyric. It's a lot like playing the violin. You cannot start off and be Yehudi Menuin, who I assume is a very famous, prolific violist fucking...
Or sex haver.
Or sex haver. A notorious violinist and sex haver.
The dream.
But yeah, that's about it. I have for Amateur Hour. I think it's a really nice follow-up and a really fun song that I like going back to.
It's a funny title when you give
yeah, that meaning too, yeah. Next up is Falling in Love with Myself Again. It kind of switches up with the 6/8 feel, going for, again, those kind of carnival keys that keep kind of coming back and forth, which I like a lot. And they keep up the kind of playful, tongue-in-cheek feel with it. And, you know, just the overall message of just, you know, being a narcissist.
I really enjoyed this one because the organ sounded a lot like a calliope or like a fairground organ. Mm-hmm. Do you know what a fairground organ is, AJ?
Is it an organ that plays at a fairground?
Yeah, actually. I guess so.
Is it like one of those things? Is it from the bit of I Think You Should Leave where it has all those goofy sound effects in there?
Yeah, but usually with a fairground organ, you give it like a line of paper with all these holes punched out, and you feed that in, and it triggers certain instruments in this like grand mechanical box thing. And
in this grand romantic,
yeah, if you will. No, I really like the way that they kind of sounded like that because that they all have like a carnival kind of feel.
Yeah,
and it really showed on this track. The bass on after the chorus is so fucking nice.
Definitely.
Like, oh my god, the song reminds me, not to compare it to Queen again, of Millionaire Waltz off of A Day at the Races.
Okay. Oh shit, it's been a while since I listened to that album, so I don't really remember like
mostly.
by.
Mostly because the boom ba ba boom ba.
Oh yeah, the oom pa pa
from Oliver.
Yeah.
No, I really like that 6/8 feel. I feel like it just
fits this track.
It shows the tongue in cheek nature.
I also really like how they go from like these kind of more traditional smooth instrumentals to the harder glam stuff as it goes throughout the track. It's a lot of fun and always like is very rewarding as you journey through these tracks. Next is Here in Heaven. This one is kind of fucked up but really funny.
I didn't really look at the lyrics like too heavily on a lot of these tracks. I think this is one of them because I was driving when I was listening to this album. I think both times.
Okay.
And obviously, I don't want to be looking at my phone while I'm.
Fair point.
But I love the rhythm guitar on this.
Oh yeah.
What's the concept about?
So the concept is about two lovers that make like a suicide pact.
Okay.
And only one of them goes through with it, and it's from the point of view of the one who committed suicide. And it's now just being like, wow, it's awesome in heaven without you.
I said the organ had a bit of a haunting feel.
Yeah.
So I guess now that makes a lot of
sense. It
sense.
goes with a macabre theme. But I really like the bass line again on this one. The bass throughout this entire album is really fun. Has this nice like descending lick during the verse, which is really cool. And there's this awesome guitar shriek that happens during the third verse. That is really awesome.
Yeah, I felt the drums also went like so hard on this one.
Oh yeah.
Like without a doubt. They're all very talented musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really good at like staying consistent to like the sound they're trying to make.
Definitely. Yeah, this album is very consistent tonally. While also not becoming like very fatiguing. Or maybe not.
I'll get to some of my later thoughts, but I this isn't really that much of a spoiler. I did enjoy the majority.
I mean,
of
it
this
sounds
album.
like it so far.
No, yeah. I mean, like I don't think I hated a single song on here.
That's good.
Actually, that's a lie.
Yeah, there's one on here that I don't really care for.
It's later down the line.
Yeah.
But like the majority of the album, I actually really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's pretty solid all throughout. And Sparks is really fun. They kind of like go through different periods where they stay true to like their style of like humor, but their music kind of shifts like with the times, which is really fun.
Would you say that they're kind of in the category of delightfully campy?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'd say they're silly Billy music, if you will.
As we say in the biz.
Yeah. But next up, we have probably one of, if not my favorite track on the album, Thank God It's Not Christmas. I really like this track a lot.
I hate to bring up Queen again.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna bring up Queen again.
And you can't do anything to stop it. No, Queen has a song called Thank God It's Christmas.
Oh shit.
Off of the Works. So I was like, is this like...
I think that's a reference, because I think Sparks was definitely a big influence on Queen.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah. That's my new headcanon. I did think it was... I like this one because like I feel like it has so much energy to it, and it's just like they're so ecstatic about the fact that it's not Christmas.
I think it's also really cool, like the different sections that kind of happen throughout, especially like the halftime breakdown is always really fun during the chorus. Mm-hmm. And just like Russell Mail's voice really kind of like shines there as he like kind of just is so passionate about the fact that it's not Christmas.
It's a joy. It's a thing to behold. No, I also really, really like the bass on this one too.
Oh yeah. It's like kind of slides a lot, which is really cool. Adds like a nice little like funky element to it, which is very nice. I just really like the harder feel of this one. The emphasis of the crash cymbal a lot too really kind of like makes this track feel one of like the glammiest like inspired on here, which is a lot of fun, which I personally like a lot. And it's just like a really well constructed song about someone who is very concerned about their image. But we can move on to next one, which is also a fucking banger. Hasta Mañana, Monsieur. Hasta Mañana, Monsieur. I always thought that Sparks was French, and then when I found out they were American, that really like kind of blew my mind. Just because like his accent.
I thought they were British.
Yeah, they're American. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that. I really like the intro on this one.
Oh yeah, this one's awesome.
The piano in like the lead up to the verses. I love the way that it like inverts the chords as it kind of goes further up the octave. I love that shit. That's really, really cool.
The main riff is also just really fucking good.
It is.
And it kind of flows very well with Russell Mail's vocals. And I like how it switches up again to like the cut time feel during the choruses. That's something that they do really well, kind of balancing making the verses and choruses sound unique to each other.
His delivery on this one is also really, really like playful.
Oh yeah.
Monsieur! Like
he has the vibrato in there. Yeah. It's awesome.
This is one that really made me think of the guy from Dexy's Midnight
Oh,
Runners.
absolutely.
I wonder if you ever did a cover of Come On Eileen. I was about to say Hey Eileen. That cult classic song that we all love.
Once in a generation.
Hey Eileen. It sounds like a fucking sitcom from like the 1970s. No, I did like this one. Also, it's funny that it's Hasta, Mañana, Monsieur.
Yeah, Spanish and French.
Amazing.
It's good. See, they don't care. They're flipping boundaries, man.
I will say this probably was the point where I was getting like a bit fatigued.
Okay.
This is one of the things I was kind of feeling with the record a little bit. None of the tracks are bad per se, like actually like at all, dare I say, except for maybe like track 10.
Yeah.
But okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
I agree with that one.
But as much as the album is pretty solid, or like each of the tracks is solid, I kind of found that like as an album, I wasn't that engaged with it.
Okay.
Like
in terms of like flow,
probably in terms of like flow and like maybe just
as a coherent like project
and kind of like with variety.
Yeah.
I was kind of feeling like there was a little bit of a lack of that.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah.
But I will say like all the tracks are very well done.
I gotcha.
And like they're so full of energy and like I don't know.
It's hard to hate.
It really like I don't hate it at all, honestly. Like there were definitely tracks on here that like I will be returning to without a doubt.
Like Equator.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
We're still on track 6, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Well, Hasta Mañana, Monsieur, because talent is an asset. I think that'll just wrap it up, AJ. We can
honestly,
just end that right
as
there.
they say in the biz.
Well, roll me like a blunt because I want to go home. Anyway, that we'll get to that
I
later.
got words about that one.
Oh, believe me, so do I. Number 7 is called Talent is an Asset.
I'll say this: the back half of this album I'm not as fond of as the front half.
I think that was also kind of my issue with the flow.
But again, they are still very good all throughout.
There's some ones spliced in there that are very good.
Definitely. But this one's fine. It's like a goofy instrumental. I like the kind of glockenspiel they add in there, which is this really like playful, silly instrumental. That doesn't take itself very seriously.
It sounds like, I think with the glockenspiel and stuff, it sounds like a cheesy like YouTuber's instrumental.
Yeah, like the royalty-free music.
We're gonna make slime today, AJ.
Bong, 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 bong.
I did like the mix of drums and clapping, though.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's really cool.
Kind of fucked.
Yeah, like they're pretty inventive with like the little that they use. It's very fun.
This one was all right with me. Like, I don't think I really returned to it because I kind of thought the chorus was a bit repetitive.
Yeah,
but
I think that's fair. I think what redeems the song for me is the concept is really silly. It's basically taken from the point of view of the family and relatives of Albert Einstein, basically just bragging about their kid, about how epic he is. And something they do in this song specifically, they'll do in other songs in the future, where they just like list things in the bridge that like have the same rhyme scheme. It's very cute. They do it again on Mickey Mouse, All Thanks in My Pants, which is really fun. So I was like, oh, I didn't pick up on that until this time. This most recent re-listen. I was like, oh, that's like a cool like little reward. It's like I can see the progress. Awesome. But I think the song is fine. It's not a favorite, but you know, again, everything's very solid on this album.
I don't hate it, and I see the appeal, but probably not one I'm going to return to at least very frequently.
Yeah, I don't think I have any of the songs on the back half besides one on like a playlist. But I guess that'll bring us to track number 8, Complaints. Matt, why don't you get them all out now?
I actually really like the song. Okay. That's my first complaint. I wanted to hate it. No, the verses and the chorus are really well done.
Yeah.
I think I confused some of my notes here because I realized some of them between this one and the next one, I think I mixed them a little bit by accident.
Yeah.
But I separated it. I really like the verses and the choruses on here, and this is the one where like the guitar solo is
man.
Oh my god,
just goes off. It's awesome.
And I think the last thing that really stood out to me was like I love the syncopated stops.
Yeah,
it's so cool. I love when bands can just like stop on a dime.
Yeah,
and just have it be so crisp. But like, oh my god,
it always hits.
It really does. I didn't have any complaints listening to it.
Look at that. Wow, thank you, Sparks.
This was a head bobber in the car. Not gonna lie.
I think the hook is a lot of fun on the song. As well, it has this almost like kind of call and response feel.
Yeah,
which is a lot of fun too. Very much leaning into the whole aesthetic of this album. It's just about the bullshit of life and about how living sucks and how we all complain about it. And I also like the guitar solo.
It is pretty good.
It's really, really good. Well, Matt, this is the family album, and I think it makes sense. This next track is called "In My Family."
Well,
the king is back.
I'm gonna hang myself from the family tree, AJ. It's a little wild, but I mean,
right, dude, that line goes kind of hard.
It does.
Yeah.
I was not expecting
I
that.
know, right? It's such like a good like outro like line.
Juxtaposition.
Yeah.
This one sounds like early Beatles. Like,
I can see that.
Like really, really early Beatles.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's because like they have kind of like a really prominent like guitar riff like in between when the singing happens. Yeah. Kind of like an underlick. It is cool though. And again, they do such a really good job building up to the chorus and trying to get me hyped.
Yeah, man.
Like
it's a lot of fun. Like, again, it comes back in with the cut time beat. And I really like the organ they have on here. It's like almost like a funk organ, which like really sounds awesome.
It did have kind of a different texture to it.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about it. Oh, the drums also.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Like the call and response with the guitar especially is like their kind of highlight to shine on this track.
Do you have the name of the drummer? Or am I going to be going to fuck myself with that too?
Matt, get your complaints ready.
Whips out guitar for solo.
There's a nice slowdown during the bridge that I like a lot. And I think this track is a nice little penultimate track to the last track on the bass album. Which unfortunately, Closer doesn't really live up to that.
Oh, I didn't even realize this isn't the bass album.
Yeah, so the last 2 tracks on this album are bonus tracks.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the initial album just ended with Equator, and then like...
Oh, that's so...
Yeah, right?
That is so unfortunate. Wow.
And then they kind of added in like different tracks through the different releases. So they're like, I guess this is the most popular one, or the one that's just on Spotify. Adds Barbecutie and Lost and Found.
Gotcha.
But anyway, Equator...
I don't really care for this track at all.
Agreed.
Like, it's probably better than anything I could do, but like the chorus delivery is just not it for me, man.
Yeah, it also just has this really like sour feeling. I think that's just because of the way the saxophone sounds. It just brings the whole vibe down, and it goes on for way too long.
It's also like earwormy in like the worst possible way.
Yeah. Very much less song to get stuck in your head and drive you crazy.
I really did not want it in my head.
Yeah.
I think there was like a one point when I was driving and I was listening to this where I was just like, oh, oh God.
It's neat to go back to the 6/8 instead of the 4/4. But,
it is.
It doesn't really do much to redeem itself. Besides like the ending where Russell Mael just kind of goes the fuck off with his vocals, which is impressive, but not pleasant.
For most of it, it was kind of like, oh, geez. And like you have to wait till the end to get to the good parts. I mean, I didn't know it was a closer, like on the bass album.
Yeah, did that change your opinion of it?
I think it somehow brought my score of it down.
I mean, which is fair, because it's not a good closer.
It really isn't at all.
Especially compared to like everything else that we've heard on the album. It just doesn't really fit. I mean, I guess it kind of fits, like with like their overall style, but not really in the sound.
Thank God they released a mini extended version, I guess.
And thank God it's not Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But with these bonus tracks, we follow up to one of my favorite on the album, Barbecutie. I love this track.
The piano has the really nice thing in the beginning, which is cool. Other than that, meh.
But it's so catchy, though.
I didn't really care for this one.
But Barbecutie?
As much.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's not really my thing.
I think it's just a lot of fun. Like, the concept is just like this person talking about a grill. That he's really excited to barbecue. He's the grill master. It has a nice, fun, accented choruses. The keys also really kind of stick out to me during the chorus as well, having this like kind of classic piano sound, which is really fun.
I thought you were about to be like, he has a really nice, fun accent where you think he's French
but he's
and
actually
British,
American.
but he's actually American.
That would be funnier.
That's funny. Yeah, I think also kind of in the grand scheme of the album, for my listening experiences, this one, since it was at the end and after such like a sour note as Equator, I feel like at that point I was just kind of like, okay, I think
checking out
just a little bit.
I gotcha. I mean, if you have the desire, I think revisit it because I have a lot of fun with this track. I really enjoy it. I really like the drums on this track too, is during the verses especially. It kind of has like a nice emphasis on the upbeats, which is cool, which complements the overall instrumental. I think it's just a silly, fun track, and I like it quite a lot.
I think also in the context of like adding a little bit more to this album, it's definitely something to kind of steal away from.
Definitely.
Just to bring the mood up a little bit.
From like the wet fart that was Equator. But last up, besides the other bonus track, we have Lost and Found. And I think this is a better overall closer than Equator.
I would totally agree with that. I actually really like this track.
Nice. More of the same, kind of like what we've been hearing all throughout. Definitely fits the vibe a lot more. I don't really have like too much to say about it. It's just really nice. I like the triplets that happen on the lyrics. Feel bad at all. That's really cool.
I really like how the cymbals are on this one.
Yeah,
they're like synced up with the lyrics in the chorus. I really like that. I feel like it did kind of wrap up the record better though.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely kind of encapsulates everything more than Equator. There's a nice key change at the end, which is also really cool, which again fits the closer way better.
He's also not like whispering in my ear. No, I actually really, really like this one.
Mm-hmm. I think like honestly the riff on this track sounds like some proto like synth pop or like some new wave.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah, which is really cool. So
especially
again,
new wave.
Sparks setting the curve, being an influence. The last track on this album is a live version of Amateur Hour, but we don't really have to talk about it.
I did actually like it.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it.
Do you want to talk about it, Matt?
All I said was I definitely know why they did this one again because the song was already great.
That's
and
true.
It even has more energy live.
They did it well again.
They did.
Well, that'll bring us to our final thoughts. So, Matt, what did you think about Kimono My House by Sparks?
Okay, so bear with me here.
Uh-huh.
As much as I am content with saying that this album is like more than solid with each of his tracks, I think kind of the track list and the overall flow of it is what kind of took a lot of my enjoyment out of it. Yeah. They're very good musicians, but after track like 8, I start to get just like a bit fatigued. Maybe even track 6, though I will say on the last listen I did, I definitely say it was more further down the track list. The guy's voice is interesting enough to keep you engaged, and I love the way he like plays around with it on each track to make it try and sound a little bit different. But I would say like the tonal consistency for me was both like this album's strength and kind of one of the takeaways at the same time.
Gotcha.
If that makes any lick of sense.
I can kind of see it because like the good stuff is good, but it gets old after a while.
Like I loved the first like 5 tracks.
Yeah.
Maybe more like 1, 2, 3, 4, and like 6.
Okay.
Thank God It's Not Christmas isn't bad at all. I kind of like was more fond of like
the other ones
just a little bit.
I gotcha.
I try my best to be a bit easygoing with this because I know I'm guilty of not liking things that sound a little repetitive. So I tried to not like
let that influence
pay as much mind and stuff like that with that. But I can see myself listening to a bit of these songs again though.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. The consistency was both like impressive and also just a little bit like, I don't know.
Not your thing.
Yeah. Also, I think like I would be curious to hear them out in the future, like with other records they got.
Yeah, I think you'd like some of like their stuff. Their album Indiscreet is like very much genre bendy. Like they go from like a classic glam rock sound to like a big band number, to kind of like this like a swanky kind of like crooning song from like the 50s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they just like play around a lot. It says that one's a lot of fun. I think it's like my third or second favorite Sparks album.
They obviously have a lot of personality all across the record because you can tell with how passionate like Male's voice is.
Yeah, and as well as like the silly concepts that are all throughout.
I think just maybe this one just didn't hit as hard as it could have. I don't know if it was the right time or place kind of deal. I listened to it a few times.
Yeah.
I tried to even listen to the ones that like I didn't like have that many notes about, but I just kind of didn't really have a lot to
add to it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But hey, maybe just right time, right place next time. I'm willing to give it a chance. And if that's, I think it's acceptable to kind of give it a B-.
Okay. B-. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think you would like other Sparks albums more. And then maybe after hearing those coming back to this, you could appreciate a little more, but I get it. It's not for everyone.
I gave it a 6.
Okay. Classic 6.
Classic 6.
I am of the opinion this is my favorite Sparks album, so I'm a little more fond of it. I think the instrumentals are just really, again, consistent all throughout. The guitars especially steal the show with just how they shred over the more kind of whimsical instrumentals that are underneath of it. Their tongue-in-cheek nature and just like how silly they are with all these song concepts is just really engaging to me, especially on these most recent re-listens where I discovered them for the first time. I just thought they were really funny. And Russell Male's vocals are just incredible.
They are.
They're
I will agree with that.
Very unique to like anything I've heard before or since. And I think his style is immaculate and keeps me engaged. And his talents are great. Even on Equator, he's the highlight.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. So this album, again, is also a very like nostalgic album for me. I really like revisiting it because it reminds me of like a time where I was really expanding my music taste. So I have a kind of bias towards it, but I still really think it's just a solid on its own. So I'm going to give it a nice, iconic A tier.
I understand why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not my speed.
That's fair enough. And hey, I'm not pressuring you or anything because, that's just what someone on this next album might do.
I'll listen in a few months to let you guys know how I feel, because that seems to be the running theme when it comes to any album I don't like on this podcast.
I force you to like it. That's what we call an American football situation, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary pals.
So, AJ, I'm not going to force you to like this record, though, because let me tell you, I sure don't.
Yeah, I mean, based off your family vacation of Viva Las Vengeance, go check that out. And our original review of Death of a Bachelor, go check that out. We're kind of filling in that gap this week.
This is, it's so funny that we're calling it like, I think you said there's kind of like a way to round it off as like a trilogy.
Yeah.
I made a comparison that like the last 3 albums of Panic at the Disco is like the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. Death of a Bachelor showed some kind of promise, like The Force Awakens, and then you get to
Last Jedi,
which is
divided
this album.
the fan base,
and then the last movie was
which
just
everyone hated,
fucking awful.
Wow, that's a really apt comparison.
Really,
Damn.
like I don't know. I mean, maybe there are some arguments that there are like my defense of Viva Las Vengeance, maybe there are some arguments where you might find something you like in there.
I don't know about Rise of Skywalker. That movie's kind of dog shit.
A little bit, yeah. Not kind of. It's actually pretty bad because they do indeed fly now.
I can't argue with that, Matt.
You can't argue with that. But AJ, I've been really wanting to give you this album for a while.
Okay, I see it.
It's very funny because
have I sinned that bad?
Yeah. And there's no praying for the wicked.
That's true.
I
sure didn't.
For a bit of context, family heads, I think I kind of mentioned in my family vacation, but I've been revisiting a lot of old like artists that I would listen to in high school and stuff, because I've been trying really, really desperately to like expand over the last few years. And upon this re-listen of Panic at the Disco, I made the shocking revelation that Viva Las Vengeance is honestly not that bad. And I kind of came to that conclusion after I listened to how horrible this album is. And the thing that's so weird about it is, like, as a teenager, I used to really like this album like a lot, with the exception of like a few songs, which I'm so excited to talk about. But that's kind of why I brought it here. I see. Just to kind of close it off. Maybe we'll review a good Panic album at some point. This little Panic at the Disco arc. Yeah. Coming to an end, finally. Shall I dive into the history? By all means, Matt. Pray for the Wicked by Panic at the Disco was released on June 22nd, 2018, and is their 6th studio album under this name through Fueled by Ramen. Our favorite. Also known for pushing out one of the best albums of all time, Some Nights. That's true. By Fun. Indisputable fact. It was produced by well-known producer of Panic at the Disco, Jake Sinclair, Scott Chesick, Tobias Winkhorn, Dylan Francis. Who's that? He's like associated with Diplo and like Skrillex. I can kind of see that with some of the instrumentals. Oh yeah. Jonas. Jonas, I think Yeberg is how you say it, or Jeberg. Okay. Link in description. Yeah. Stint and Alex A.K. Kresovich. Gotcha. The members of the band at this time included Brendan Urie, and Brendan Urie. And for a little bit of background, with the massive success of their previous album, Death of a Bachelor, and Brendan's escapades on Broadway for 10 weeks in a production of Kinky Boots, the album covers themes of stardom, substance abuse, theatrical influence, and even wickedness. Dude, it's like the title. It really is. Wow. This album sucks. I really hate this album. It's not very good. So initially, I'm going to do a lot of comparing this album to Death of a Bachelor, just kind of like based off my experiences with these albums. And I will say, the more I listened to this album, the less I liked it. Yeah, I kind of learned that is how it goes. Yeah. I used to really like this album because I was like a diehard Panic fan for a little while. And I started in like the Brendan I was going to combine universe and Yuri. Universe. The Universe. The BCU. The BCU. I used to really, really like this album. And then
I grew up.
I did. I did.
Well,
unlike Death of a Bachelor, I don't think that I'll be coming back around on this album. It's a bit horrendous.
Yeah, and I think we can see that as early as this first track.
This opener is disgusting.
It's awful. It's premature fuck the song. It's literally in the title.
It's called Fuck a Silver Lining.
Yeah.
But fuck is in parentheses.
Fuck 'em.
Oh. Yeah, Bastille. Yeah, no, I hate this opener. It's really dumb. Like, the message is so pointless. It's basically talking about nothing.
I think like a constant theme throughout this album is like Brendan reflecting on his career and him being like, yeah, I always know it's the shit. And it's just kind of like really obnoxious.
It's just like his delivery on him saying like, fuck a silver lining.
Yeah.
It's just so like unflattering. And I think the one thing about this song that's actually good is that it's not exactly a tone setter for the album.
That's true.
Because I would say, as much as there are some other low points on this record, this one is the lowest, dare I say.
Sure. I can see that.
There might be one that's right above it, but like I would say this one is like probably the worst song. And he lets you know head on.
Gets it right out of the way.
Because at least the hit single on this record sounds okay.
Yeah.
It's just annoying as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But
also sucks in its own right.
Yeah, that is very, very true.
Something I noticed about this song, like today on my most recent re-listen, was that like the chorus, after he like kind of repeats the cherry phrase, it sounds like a YouTube poop where someone like splices a sentence to like repeat a certain word.
The cherries, everything's cherries sometimes. Oh my gosh. This might actually be the worst Panic at the Disco song of all time.
I can see that. I mean, especially during this era, and there's a lot to choose from, so I hear.
And that's basing it around Death of a Bachelor and their last album, which everybody thought was terrible. But honestly, this might be the worst Panic at the Disco song of all time.
I think a big reason why that is just Brendan himself, because I don't have too big a problem with the instrumental. I don't think it's the worst thing. It's like a clever idea of like meshing these like strings and horns with this like trap beat. It sounds almost like a hip hop sample. The only problem is Brendan Urie is on top of it and it does not mesh.
White men on the verge
of rapping, on the verge of cherries.
Oh man, that's. Have I laid on enough how much I hate this track?
Would you like to do a little more?
I mean, what else can I say about it besides the fact that it bleeps out the chorus in the last time?
Which is
the samples on this. Here's the deal. I know you're saying like the samples over top the trap beat isn't bad.
Yeah.
This might be the worst example. And I think a lot of the samples later down the line
are better.
Are worse.
Okay.
Or just maybe they're better, but I still just don't like how obnoxious they are.
Well, yeah, but it's Panic at the Disco. Obnoxious is their bread and butter.
That's true. Yeah, no. This was a skip every single time this would come on.
I can see why.
Even in high school.
Yeah.
So
wow. High School Matt knew.
Yeah. There are a couple of these on here that I never would play.
Gotcha.
Shall we go into the next one?
I think we shall.
Because AJ, amen.
Hallelujah. Call me the wicked.
Pray for me. Roll me like a blunt.
Oh my God. Go. We'll get to that one.
Oh my God. The next track is called Say Amen, Saturday Night. I think he discovered what parentheses were in this album around the time.
He just learned PEMDAS.
He was doing PEMDAS at the disco. Oh my gosh. No, I think he was doing theater. He was reading more. He makes a lot of literary references throughout.
And musical references.
That don't
apply
to anything.
Yeah.
I used to really like the verses leading up to the chorus, but this beat is kind of whack.
Yeah.
It's really like thick. Like I can't describe it.
It's overwhelming.
A little bit.
I like that there's like some more aux percussion elements in here and a cowbell throughout. I don't like when it's layered over top of Brendan Urie screeching, especially during that last held high note. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Didn't care for that.
No, it was no. This song is interesting though, AJ. Because Panic at the Disco, I realized something about them. They have music videos for their songs, like some of these.
Yeah.
This one has one. I think they somehow managed to pull off multiple times an instance and a phenomena where the music video tricks you into thinking that it's a good song.
Yeah.
Because the music video for this one is arguably kind of cool.
Okay.
It's him like beating the shit out of a bunch of like ninjas that are in his apartment.
Gotcha.
But it's kind of dope. Not gonna lie.
I mean,
cool.
I guess anything's better than like Demon Brendan in Emperor's New Clothes.
Hey, the music video for that is also kind of cool. Not gonna lie. Not saying the song's cool.
To each their own.
Yeah, that's fair. I watched a behind the scenes of that video, so I also kind of.
You saw Brendan getting possessed and him turning into a demon.
Yeah, it was quite a process.
Yeah. They did have to pray for the wicked that day.
I don't know why he thought this style was the move.
No, I mean, the style is like kind of all over the place on this album. Like, besides just loud, is like the style I would say is consistent.
It is really, really loud.
I would equate this album to like how my parents felt whenever I watched Ed, Edd and Eddy. Like, they would just be like really upset that the TV was just like blaring these like loud cartoonish sound effects and yelling. And it's like, I get it now. This is my Ed, Edd and Eddy.
I see. Your bread, Brendan, Breddy. Your bread, Brendan, Yuri. Brendy and the ink machine. Oh my god. I hate the middle part in the between like the chorus and the second verse when it does like the little launch pad like.
Oh yeah, gotta love that.
I hate
the Fueled by Ramen classic.
I hate when I listen to a song and I can picture them doing the launch pad and be like, "This is the shit. This is the shit.
Put me in the booth.
Put me in the booth." The song is really the 1 foot of Pray for the Wicked.
I don't really have too much to say about like this song in general. I don't really like remember it that much besides it's like the pseudo title track because they dropped the line "Pray for the Wicked" in there.
Yeah.
And like besides what else I said, that high note is atrocious.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
And he never hit it live.
I can imagine.
It became quite a contender for a lot of TikTok.
Yeah,
videos.
I think I've seen some clips on that, which
it's
is very
rough.
funny.
It's very rough. And it's like, imagine like hiring a big, because let me tell you, the personnel on here is extensive.
Oh yeah.
Like I can't even read all of them because of how
many
long
they
the list
are.
is.
Yeah.
There's like 9 horns
Jesus.
across this record.
Gotcha.
Especially like on a later track.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, oh my god, he just imagine like hiring all these amazing musicians. Sound of death!
And they're just like,
what? Yeah.
And it looks like they're gonna have to pay for the Wicked this time.
Oh, it's incredible. But yeah, that's I think all that we can say about it.
I think all we can say is, hey, look, Ma, this album sucks.
Yeah, just a little bit. I will say with this one, this song isn't that bad.
No, it's
a good come down after the last one.
Definitely. And this track is called "Hey Look Ma, I Made It." It's kind of, I guess, a celebration of Brendan's career.
Yeah,
which is nice. But again, I don't care for the style, so I don't really have a lot of good things to say about it.
It definitely grew on me like this time around because I would always skip it when I was younger. Because I guess I just liked the crazier sounding stuff when I was younger.
Yeah.
But now as I'm old, I like the more tame stuff because I think it suits him a lot more.
It's also a nice break when it's just constantly in your face the entire album.
Especially in between.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, God. This song... Not to reference more Fueled by Ramen content, this song reminds me of Aha by Nate Roos.
Oh.
Like off of the Grand Romantic.
Oh my God.
Like the beat kind of reminds me of that.
Yikes.
A little bit. Or just maybe just the vibe. Because I think they're like different tempos.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think this is the one that's just kind of tame. This one has a music video as well.
Okay.
It's Brendan as a puppet, like getting fondled.
Oh.
Well, kinda. Like they make kind of a big thing about like someone putting the hand up the puppet and he's going around Hollywood. He's trying to be like, "Oh, I made it, Ma, but I'm a puppet."
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Is this the one where it's like record label, my pimp's a record label, like a music hooker or something?
Honestly, it could be.
Those lyrics were pretty bad. That might be a later track that I'm thinking, but these lyrics are very on the nose, and I do not care for them.
All across the board, I'd say they are. There's one later on that I really fucking hate. That's all I really like to say about this one. It grew on me just because the rest of it is just grime.
Yeah. I think there's also like a Trapped in the Closet sounding beat during the pre-chorus.
Are you ready for the sequel? Yeah, amazing.
That's all I ever like to say. Fine sentiment, don't care for it. But oh god, Matt.
Track number 4 is called High Hopes. I have always fucking hated this song.
For everyone working in retail, we are so sorry.
It's not even like just this song. This is the thing I hate about the song. I would say that Fuck a Silver Lining is the worst Panic at the Disco song.
Mm-hmm.
This song, however, is the most Panic at the Disco song.
Okay.
Why in God's name, after a whole album ago where you're just talking about drinking, partying, fucking impossible year, I'm a bachelor, but I'm dead.
Death.
Why are you telling me to follow my dreams? Like,
yeah.
who are, like, what?
That's a really good point.
Who the fuck are you to tell me?
Especially because there's another track like Death of a Bachelor, like One of the Drunks, that also kind of dissuades this mindset as well.
It's like totally so confused. The track list all across this record is very confused.
Feels like a rush job almost.
I would very much say. Yeah, no, I really hate this song. It's probably the most earwormy piece of garbage that I've ever heard come from the band. The thing is, like, this is a weird era because, like, Brendan was in like a weird spot, and I heard this articulated by another music critic. I think it might have been Todd in the Shadows.
Okay.
You know how, like, at this point in Brendan's career, he was, like, doing collabs with, like, Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
He was on the Jimmy Fallon show singing the DuckTales theme. That's not a joke.
Did he sing it in the same style where he just, like, yells?
Yeah, kind of.
Nice.
I can play it for you later.
Oh, my favorite.
I know how much you love the DuckTales theme. A woo-oo, am I right? Here's the thing about it. This song really highlights the weird space that Brendan was in, like, in his career. Because when you think about it, you kind of look at some pictures of him at this point in time. Someone brought up that, like, he does start kind of emulating a lot of the presence of, like, Adam Levine, prime Maroon 5.
Yeah.
You know, the shirtless sort of tattoos on the arms, like really well done hair, kind of like bachelor kind of vibes. And I
humping
think
his microphone.
Yeah, that was a weird era of Pray for the Wicked. But that's the thing though. Like, I think the song is just the most Panic at the Disco song of all time because it's just like really showing how much he's selling out here.
Definitely, because like hearing I Write Sins Not Tragedies and then going to this, it's just like such a weird pipeline. Because I have like very little experience with this band besides like what I just mentioned at 9 in the afternoon. That's like all I heard before you brought Death of a Bachelor to me. So, and even like from this album to now, it's still like a weird change in career trajectory.
It without a doubt is, because he was the only member left, so nobody could police him and be like, hey, this isn't what the band is.
Yeah.
I am the band.
Literally, like he had full total control and he ran with it and he did, I guess, what he felt was right.
And urinated all over the record.
Yep, that he did. You could even hear it on this track. It's
like a play on his name.
I can't, because Yuri. That's pretty good, dude.
I try. Urinated. Yeah, no, I think he was really trying to fill the void of sort of like the Adam Levine-esque sort of like frontman vibe.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, Adam Levine, I mean, they have members of Maroon 5. We just don't know what their names are.
That's true.
I fucking don't.
They're one of the 5.
Exactly. I think at one point there's like 7.
They're like Codename Kids Next Door. They just have a number.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a weird... That's incredible. Yeah, no, I do not like this song. It's been used in political propaganda.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It's been used at football games. Like, I think the Super Bowl, actually, it literally had this playing in the commercials. Where I would have loved David Guetta and BB Rexha's I'm Do Dabba Dee Ba Die.
Blue Dabba Dee by Eiffel 65 by BB Rexa.
I would have loved to have that and playing in between all 16 times at Raw 30.
Have we told that story on the podcast?
Well, we can.
Sure. 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Matt, Tom, and first guest of the show, Paul, took us to wrestling.
The 30th anniversary of Raw.
Yeah.
WWE.
I had no really prior experience to wrestling, so going in, I was very excited. By the end, I was very defeated. both because it was 3 hours long and I lost interest almost immediately. And between each like interruption, the only song they played was "All Right" by BB Rexa.
Every single time, though.
Yeah.
So, like...
For 3 hours.
Me and AJ were sitting next to one another, and we were just like, AJ, how you feeling?
Boy, let me tell you.
I'm not just feeling good.
I'm feeling all right.
Oh, my gosh.
I think I'm going to have the best freaking night of my life, because it was also the clean version.
That's true. They can't curse.
No, not in front of Seth Rollins.
Unless you're Vince McMahon and you just say the N-word to John Cena. That actually happened.
God damn it.
Anyway.
High hopes.
I hate this song.
It's bad.
I also, let's just move on to the next one.
Because do you also hate this one? Because I sure do.
Yeah. I used to think this track was really good in high school. Because I guess I was a nerd who enjoyed The Great Gatsby, and this is supposed to be sort of like the big band, like 20s feel. Because it's called the Roaring 20s.
To celebrate his 20s? When I believe at this time he was like almost in his 30s, right?
I don't even think it's... I think this is also sort of like a dick-sucking song in the sense where
Broadway.
like... Yeah, Broadway's black like a sinkhole. Everybody races to the suburbs. And he's on the rooftop with curious strangers. This is the oddest of summers.
Fellas, let me tell you.
Well, I used to really like this song because I was a huge like required reading nerd in high school. Like I was one of the only kids in my class
that could read.
Yeah, I know. I was at a 5th grade reading level until the Master of Puppets episode, but I was pretty. Yes. But that's because everybody else was a lower
at a 2nd grade level.
Yeah.
I was a prodigy,
if you will. It was my Roaring 20s, but I loved The Great Gatsby, and I loved just like the whole idea of like the jazz age and stuff like that. I thought it was just kind of a vibe, and I used to think the song was really cool because I was like, wow, it's different.
It's like what I like.
But boy, howdy, it's different, and I actually really learned that this song is kind of fucking dumb.
Yeah.
The message is just like...
Broadway's cool.
It's black like a sinkhole.
Yeah. Roll me like a blunt, because I want to go home.
That's not a phrase.
It's not.
Like, who
is this for? What does this mean?
What is it about? Like, how do you...
Yeah.
Let's imagine like someone like on a sitcom be like,
well, honey, you can roll me like a blunt, because
like in Everybody Hates Raymond, fucking Ray Romano rolling up.
Because God fucking damn it, I want to go home.
Yeah, no, like, what?
I don't understand what he's trying to say.
I really hate... There's this one line, he's like, it's in the bridge, he's like, hallucinations only mean that your brain is on fire.
Teen dream.
And then he goes, if it's Lord of the Flies in my mind tonight, I don't know if I can survive.
It's another one of those fucking references.
He does that all the time where he mentions the title of a book and be like, it's just like Lord of the Flies, you know what I
right?
mean? It's in my mind, it's like...
God, who can relate?
It's so fucking dumb.
It really is. I mean, like, the instrumental is cool. I like the concept of, like, his Roaring 20s and then using a big band instrumental to, like, convey that. I feel like it doesn't really go far enough in that direction in terms of sound, because it still leans on, like, the kind of trap, like, modern production style, so it kind of takes away from that.
Yeah.
And then also on top of Brendan Urie singing very loudly and saying really dumb shit, it just doesn't really mesh very well.
A silk tie tourniquet, AJ.
I do remember that one.
Cut him a silk tie tourniquet. Been on Broadway
for
thinks he's hot shit
in one show
for 10 weeks. Yeah. No, I used to really like this song, but just honestly, like, such a weird way to kind of describe, like, I'm rising to the top so fast, but I'm getting kind of quirky and getting kind of anxious. I need to inebriate and medicate.
But not too much, because I have a song about why that's bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, no, it's not really about anything, but just kind of like praising what he wants.
Yeah.
Or what he is.
Yeah.
Or thinks he is.
That goes for a lot of the songs on this album. It's mostly just him dick sucking himself about how cool Panic at the Disco is.
I feel like this song is the most glaring example.
Yeah, of him glazing.
Yeah.
The glaring glazing example.
Of The Great Gatsby. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I hate this song.
Yeah, it's really bad. Next up is a song I think is also kind of bad. Dancing's Not a Crime. This music sounds like YouTube stock music that you just hear over like B-roll.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, like the chiptune voice and like the kind of like harder trap beat. It's very, very annoying.
I would say, and you're more than welcome to disagree with me on this. In the grand scheme of this like record, this one is one of the least unlistenable.
Okay.
I don't love it.
Yeah.
It's one of the, I think it's the 4th single on here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, imagine you like
imagine 4 singles for this thing.
I don't hate this one like nearly as much as I hate a lot of the other ones though. I hate the way it's mixed.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing I really hate about this record. Some of the mixing and the EQs on these tracks are like really high in the treble.
Oh, definitely.
And it's like he could use a de-esser like desperately. Desperately, AJ.
Because he just yells. That's his style. And I don't see the appeal. Like,
yeah.
That's one of my biggest takeaways from like these modern Panic at the Disco albums. It's just he just screams, and I don't see any like I don't get any enjoyability from that.
I think like at the time when I was also like more of a theater kid in high school, I thought like, oh my God, hitting high notes, being a tenor, that's like everything in theater. And I guess with Brendan Urie being there, it's like, oh my God, a tenor. I could be like Brendan.
I could be Brenner.
Brenner? Oh my God. Yeah, I think like that was definitely also a part of it. Like, you know, I was doing kind of shows. I was doing a lot of like musicals and stuff in high school. So I thought like, oh, okay, I want to listen to stuff that's moderately theatric in nature. But this, he's like MJ up in the clouds.
He is like that. And we can't take that away.
I think the chorus is catchy.
I mean,
but
I think
kind
it's
of in an annoying way.
Yeah, in an Equator way, if you will.
Yeah, I guess Dancing Is Not a Crime really is the equator of Pan.
I think every song on here is the equator of Pray for the Wicked, honestly.
Oh my God.
It sure is a crime to me.
I could see the launch pad again.
Yeah.
AJ.
He did get put in that booth, and boy did he dance.
Without me. Anyway.
Anything else?
No, because I want to know what it feels like to be one of the drunks.
This one, I think the instrumental here I kind of dig. It has like a nice kind of synthwave feel, which is cool, and which kind of matches up with the darker tone. What I don't think is cool is the random Pink Floyd reference for no reason, Uncomfortably Numb.
Does he say that?
Yeah, during the chorus. This is what it feels like, ba-da-da-da, uncomfortably numb. It's like, why?
This one is weird. This one and the next one, I'll get to it when we get to the next one.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain is moving faster than I can like speak. I don't really have a lot to say about it. I love how at the very end, I guess one of the drunks is there.
Yeah, Daft Punk. When they have the weird vocal effects.
No. There's a part at the end where the guy's like, yeah, that's the shit.
Oh, that's
the
right.
Shit.
Yeah.
Man, I saw you lift that saxophone up to the microphone and I fell in love.
Yeah.
And everybody got such a fucking kick out of that.
They did. They thought it was funny.
They really did. Yeah, no, it kind of falls flat to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd say the beat is creative. Mm-hmm. I'll give it that, but it's also like, what am I to gain from this?
It's inconsistent with what he's saying, especially from the last album about, this like degenerate lifestyle, but then he's like leaning into it more on this track while also saying that he's doing well everywhere else. It's just weird. Maybe it's just like a celebration, like I got out of that lifestyle or something. I don't really know.
I don't know. Because like the thing that I also hate about like new era Panic is that he tries to talk about and sing about all these different moments where he's living like the high life of the elite as a rock star who's doing drugs and drinking and all that stuff. But then it's weird because he'll try to have these solemn moments where we're supposed to feel bad for him, like his life is so hard.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
You can't really do that.
It's kind of annoying.
It's also a really weird kind of juxtaposition where he's sold out, but he's also like talking about how shitty the music industry is. It's almost like capitalistic commentary where it's like saying like buzzwords to like resonate with like your audience, but not actually meaning them. It's like how in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Helena Shaw says, haha, capitalism in a Disney movie.
Yeah. It's Lord of the Flies in my mind tonight.
It makes me uncomfortably numb.
So I don't have much to say about one of the drunks. I used to really like this track.
Yeah, because it helped you through a really tough time when you were also
when you become one of the drunks. Yeah, no, I don't have a lot more to say about it. I just think the song is catchy and I would just bob my head. I have a complaint about this track that I also wanted to complain about the next track.
Okay.
Which is called the Overpass.
Yeah.
Which I will say, instrumentally, this
might be the best song on the album.
Fucking like rips.
Yeah, it goes really hard. All those horns really put in work, going for this like retro 70s.
Let me hear you say something. So I remember, do you know, I forget what interview it was, but he was talking about like the making of this album. And he was saying how with this track, he wanted to have like an Ocean's 11 kind of feel.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I wasn't gonna say anything until you said anything. I was willing to not even acknowledge it, but
yeah, Ocean's 11, totally, yeah, yes.
Yeah, this used to actually be like my literal favorite track on this record.
I mean, I can see why. It's probably my favorite track on the album. It has like that really cool, like swanky funk feel. Going for like that the spy movie type with all the horns and like the really fast drum beat. It's cool. I don't care about the lyrics, but Matt, there are two wolves inside of you: the sketchy girls and the lipstick boys.
Troubled love and high speed noise. Am I right? I know all the lyrics to this album. I hate this album so much. It poisoned my youth.
Oh no.
I have one complaint.
Yeah.
The bridge for this song and the last song are literally the same.
Yeah. The bridge slowdown.
It's so dumb too.
Yeah.
Because it's just this haze in the background with these like really like weird synth pads.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sings like tiny bottles of shit wine in a tin can that climbs. But I remember every time. It's so fucking dumb because the other one he's like round and round and round.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah.
This is what it feels like.
To be. God, oh my god.
Well, also, what is this song about? Is it like just meeting up with a lady to like make out in a place where there are prostitutes and like drug addicts?
I think it's also supposed to be that mired with the idea of him living hedonistically to forget about an old relationship.
Gotcha.
Which there are a couple moments on this record where I feel like the topics are so vague in the songs, like contents, that he's trying to convey multiple things at once, but they're not really like connecting.
Yeah.
Which I think Roaring Twenties also kind of has that problem, which sucks because instrumentally they're both kind of like the most interesting
like
things on the record.
Listen,
there's a way to access. I'll say access. There's a way to sort of like correctly display and like present this idea of being like a tortured artist in capitalism.
Yeah.
Like Charlie XCX has been doing that for a little while because she's been like, you know, held back by her label for a very, very long time and has battled it out, and it's been a journey.
Yes.
And it's led her to, you know,
Brat Girl Summer.
Exactly. And is she even says in her music that she's led to cope in like unconventional ways because of it. And I think like as an artist, if you want to portray that, there are ways of doing that that's a lot more tasteful.
Yeah.
Here he's just all over the place. One moment being like, we're gonna party and roll ourselves like a blunt.
But also I'm a pimp for my record label, guys. But also here's High Hopes, the most radio friendly song I could write.
What's the fucking name of that song by Styx that you hate that's kind of about this?
Miss America?
That's it.
Yeah.
This whole album has like the energy
of Miss America.
It's got the credibility of Miss America by Styx. That's kind of like how I feel about it. But yeah. Sketchy girl. Tag yourself, guys. Are you
a sketchy girl? Question of the week. Are you a sketchy girl or a lipstick boy?
But yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. Instrumentally, it's probably the best thing all across this record.
And that's also all I have to say about the song and the next track, because I have like nothing to say about King of the Clouds.
This song is ass.
This song is like filler. It does nothing for this album.
I hate the chorus where his voice just gets like higher and higher and higher and higher. Because it's like his voice is already too high.
Yeah.
Who thought like, you know what?
More high notes.
We need to pitch it up.
Put me in the booth.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, the song is ass. Always a skip.
Yeah.
High School Matt knew it was a skip.
They reference the movie Angels in the Outfield for some reason.
don't even remember that because I would never listen to the song. God, what the fuck?
I don't know why.
Is that the fucking movie where they go to the baseball stadium?
There's ghosts helping them win.
They're angels, AJ, and they're in the outfit.
Sorry, they're holy spirits, let me say.
And this guy, like, oh my god. That's so. There's like two kids, and this guy's like, "Hey, I'm an angel." That's literally what he sounds.
I'm gonna take you to the World Series, Bucko. I'll make you the king of the clouds.
This is what it feels like to be one of the drunks. Roll me like a blunt, because I want to go home.
Man, they knew in the 90s.
They did.
They prophesized.
Yeah, this song was ass.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I feel a very similar way about the next song.
Yeah, this song fucking blows.
This, like, I used to really like this song, but honestly, the verses give me this ick.
They're so
that
bad.
I can't, like, both musically and lyrically. It's called Old Fashioned, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate everything about the lead up and the chorus, honestly.
Yeah, it's just because it goes from, like, the weird sour saxophone trap syncopation verses to the classic Brendan screaming during the choruses.
It was the best of times. It was the best of times.
It's literally just the worst of both worlds. It's just everything wrong with Panic at the Disco in one song.
The one thing I wanted in a Panic at the Disco song was him randomly misquoting Charles Dickens. That is exactly what I needed.
That's where all those references get you, man. They just get too confused.
He really just was one of those kids that only read the title of the required reading at his school
and was like,
decided to be like, you know what? I'm a scholar. I drink and party and do coke,
and I swallow those nights.
Oh my god,
don't like that one.
No, it's not great. Also, it's the penultimate track.
Yeah, dude.
Like this thing, thematically too. Because he starts it off with Once Upon a Time, and he's diving into this whole thing of like, oh, we're the kids with the disorders, but we pour down some liquor.
Yeah.
Make it in an old fashioned. And it's like, dude, like, this could have honestly, first of all, been earlier.
True.
I feel like thematically it could have made more sense.
I feel like if you string Roaring Twenties, One of the Drunks, and this song, that's pretty cohesive.
We kind of saw in Death of a Bachelor and in Viva Las Vengeance that he's not very good with track list order.
That's very true.
Like, at all. I mean, there's a reason why you can only be that bad of a guy organizing the album if you have the two most nothing songs on Death of a Bachelor, Golden Days and House of Memories, on top of one another.
Yeah.
But yeah, this song is ass.
It's really, really bad. Don't care for it.
It's so fucking bad, man. Like, how do you write a song that's this bad?
I don't understand, man. Yeah, the saxophone is awful.
The saxophone just gives me like the biggest ick I've ever heard in my whole life. It's like filthy.
It's disgusting. It's like it's way too like deep and minor. Which really sucks because the horns are usually a highlight on this album.
I made a mistake.
Oh?
I looked it up and I made a mistake. Golden Days and House of Memories are not on top of one another.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. I guess I'm not a big as fan as I thought.
All right. Well, we're going to send Matt to the kiln.
Roll me like a blunt.
Because Matt is going home. I think the only like redeeming in quotes thing is like the last chorus where all the backup vocals come in. So it's like big triumphant moment. It's like, okay.
And the strings are kind of cool.
The strings are nice all throughout this album whenever they're included.
This is another example of the mixing and the EQ just being abysmal.
Yes, absolutely.
It like when he does S's, it's like a needle in my ears. Like artists, like you need to have a de-esser on there. Nate Ruess also had that problem in some nights.
I think this is maybe just be like a Fueled by Ramen problem.
I guess, yeah. They don't have the best track record.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. Terrible.
They will be hearing from my producers.
They will. Also, the song's just ingenuine. That's the last thing I needed to say.
Yeah, you're right.
But the next song, which is the last song.
Yes.
I also really hate this song.
Okay, interesting. I didn't really see much wrong with it personally.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, like instrumentally, it sounds great.
Yeah.
And I think by itself, the whole idea of like the message, it's called Dying in LA, by the way. Family heads.
I wish I was dead.
No, like, I think it makes sense. Like, this is a good closer.
Yeah, that's what I kind of took away from the song.
However, when you put it in the context of everything else that you've listened to, it's kind of like, which is it, man? Do you enjoy this or like not?
Yeah, but he's got to pick a lane. I guess it's like all the nuance of being a musician, but not delivered with any nuance.
This also, like the other track, has the random spikes in the chorus. When you're dying in LA. But the piano and the The strings are nice.
Agreed. It's a similar way to Impossible Year, where it's like, hey, it's a highlight of the album because it's like a nice kind of emotional send-off where it's just more intimate. It's just Brendan in this very intimate setting, and it works pretty well for the most part. Though Impossible Year is way fucking better.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
Because that, at least with that one, like, he goes high in that song, but it at least like works because there's like a progression. There's an escalation.
It doesn't just happen.
No.
Where's the main focal point for the song?
Yeah, no, exactly. He did say that is how he likes to end all of his records. He likes to have like a lot of upbeat stuff and then like end on like a really like sad note that sounds like a lot more mellowed down.
Yeah.
But I do not care for this closer at all.
Fair enough.
Mostly like primarily because of just its contents and how at least with Death of a Bachelor, like as crazy as everything was, like track list wise, at least it kind of felt like you went on a little bit of a journey.
Yeah.
And you got to a certain point, like it highlighted the craziness. This one, he tried to be like bitter about like his stardom and shit.
Yeah, but while also celebrating it. It was a lot of contradictions in this album.
The other one, he at least was consistently like, this is awesome, this is awesome, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then hit the low point.
Exactly.
This, he was flip-floppity and like contradicting himself, and then this just felt super ingenuine.
Yeah.
Also, again, the EQ, I just cannot stand it. I can't stand how trebly this is.
Fair enough. It's just not a good mix.
But like, I can definitely see like sound-wise, like from the music, like it does sound nice.
It's a really nice breath of fresh air from everything we've heard before. And I do think like the only reason I kind of tend to favor it is because it is that change
it's at
of
the
pace,
very end,
and it is a very nice closer. It's like, okay, cool. And this song also made me listen to I Write Sins Not Tragedies again because I was just like, how did we get here?
Honestly, yeah.
You may find yourself.
This isn't my beautiful wife. But AJ, I think we've reached the end of the track by track.
That's true. We did pray for the wicked, and they did not answer.
No, they really didn't. Shall I get into my final thoughts?
Sure. What did you think of Pray for the Wicked by Panic at the Disco, Matt?
I think the more and more I've listened to this record, the more I realize that this album's success only lies in high hopes.
Yeah.
And even then, it's just like, you just can't help but really feel how much he sold out throughout the whole thing. There was always an air of like partying hard in their music and trying to like, be uplifting and shit like that. And like, tonight's the night. Like they always gotta have that air about them, especially with tracks like Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, which is just the fucking Rock Lobster launch padded.
Woof.
But this one is just annoying because he kind of tries to keep it as the main focus and tries to like weave it in with like the fact that stardom is bitter.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work because he's not like nuancing it nearly enough. It's just back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, it's the weird like juxtaposition of selling out while complaining.
And what I hate about this album is like just exactly that. The authenticity is just not there whatsoever. And I can't say like Panic at the Disco has ever been like a truly like raw, like emotional album or group, even when all the members were still there. But like, I don't know. 1 second he's trying to say how great it is to party and have this like vagabond lifestyle. Yeah. But then it's just like, why you're then telling us to follow our dreams? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, pick a lane, Brendan.
No, seriously. Also, I know like you said like a lot of the beats and stuff were like all right.
Yeah.
I cannot stand how many samples there are on this.
Gotcha. Okay.
I just feel like I get it, like evolve with the times, like don't get me wrong, but I feel like he was supplementing the fact that he was the only one there.
Yeah.
And that's like by injecting so many samples into the music.
Yeah, it sounded kind of like processed or manufactured.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to not be too harsh on it, I moved it from an F to a D.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I gave it a 3 out of 10.
Nice. I think that's pretty valid. Initially, I was more receptive to this album on my very first listen. I thought, when comparing it to Death of a Bachelor, I thought it was more consistent, whereas Death of a Bachelor had higher highs and lower lows, though the lows were way more interesting on Death of a Bachelor. But the more I listened to this album, the more I realized they're both pretty bad. I don't really know which one is worse. I mean, upon these arguments and upon me not listening to Death of a Bachelor since 2022, 23, I don't really remember. They're both pretty bad, though. And Brendan is the worst part on both of them.
Yeah.
I do not care for his singing style. It's just very show-offy. It's very obnoxious. It's very loud. Like, I just want to break whenever I listen to any of their music. I think the instrumentals are still the highlight. And while I can definitely see your point about the authenticity with how manufactured the samples are, I think it works in some places, like on the Overpass, and even Fuck a Silver Lining, I think isn't too bad of a sample. Mm-hmm. It's just Brendan sucks.
Yeah, that's true. That delivery is really bad.
Yeah.
Fuck a
Silver Lining. You two poop cherries. Panic at the Disco just is not my thing, and I don't really think I'll ever like at least this era of Panic.
There definitely is a lot more to enjoy in their earlier stuff.
Yeah. Like even like I Write Sins Not Tragedy, which is like a big song in my childhood, I was like, it's all right. So I'm gonna give this, initially was a C-, I think a D+, about on the same tier as Death of a Bachelor. They're kind of interchangeable for me. I think I'd give Death the edge now. And I think that'll wrap up our season premiere of the family album.
I think it will. So what is the connecting theme between the two albums? Did we come up with that yet, or?
Let's see. Christmas. Thank God it's not Pray for the Wicked.
Religion. God.
Up here in heaven.
Yeah, it's true.
Here in heaven we pray for the wicked.
The best of times.
Miss America.
Miss America. This is what it feels
like when the doves cry.
Oh man, that's gonna be a fun one. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for sticking around. This is gonna be a bit of an experimental time for us.
Absolutely, we're figuring things out on the fly, so please bear with us as we struggle.
AJ, I got an alert. I think there's somebody trying to break into the bunker, so we should probably go check that out.
All right, we will see you guys next week on another classic episode of the family album. As per usual, I'm your host, AJ Sonari.
I'm Matt Glass.
Thank you all for listening and for your constant love and support, and we'll see you next week.
Peace!